Hi everyone, I'm Grissel.
Hi, I'm Marysol.
And you're listening to Mental,
Margarita.
your weekly happy hour.
Cheers.
And this week's drink is brought to you all the way from Japan. It is a Sakura cherry liqueur drink with gin, complimentary of my friend's visit to Japan. So shout out to Nikki. Domo arigato, Nikki and Day. This is really good, I gotta say. It's delicious.
It is a little scrumptious.
I like that it's not sweet. It's a little bitter. It's, grown woman
I like
drink.
that hint of lemon you did.
Yeah.
Good.
We did lime.
Oh, it's lime? I thought you threw lemon in there.
No, I was going to do lemon, but then I was like, isn't that too much like a lemon balm? So I was like, let's do lime.
It's still good.
Anyways, welcome back, guys, to another week with us. I see that our numbers keep growing. They keep going up. Listeners are still listening, so thank you guys for that. We promised you that we were going to be working on, vamping up the podcast, and we're still doing that. We hope to not have things like this in the shop very soon and have our own studio, and we'll keep you guys updated on that as things progress. But anyways, enough about you, enough about drinks. What about us? I'm just kidding. What's been going on, cuz?
Well, this week, a lot of nothing, actually.
Yeah.
We've had my kids were on spring break. We had all of this lined up, but, I've just been letting them chill. Same thing with it. Usually it's always like, run, go, and, they finally got some downtime, so.
Sometimes you need that mental health break anyways,
Yeah, so it's just 1 week. But yesterday we did go out to watch the Dodger game, and then we took them to arcade, and that was their little downtime, their little getaway for the week. And so they got to go back to Monday. Got to go back to school on Monday, so.
Remember how amazing that feeling was when, you got on spring break or you had, the month off? We had tracks, so, we would get a whole month off.
Yeah,
and
I forgot about that.
I remember how amazing that would feel.
They should bring that back. That was cool.
You think so?
I feel like it would have been, it doesn't really work out for, the parents.
That's what I was going to say, because, I guess it's, a trade-off, right? Because you still get the kids still get 3 months off, but it's, spread out during the year rather than just on summer break. But I don't know. I think I probably would have liked it better if we had the summer
3 months.
break. But as a kid, I did always look forward to vacation.
Yeah, that's fun.
And it seemed so long, huh?
I did.
I always felt so it was every 4 months that we would
3 months.
Every 3 months. So we'd go to school for 3 months and then get a 4th month off, right?
Something like that. I don't remember. But yeah, it was a couple months and then one off. Couple months and one off.
But it just seemed like we were in school forever, I feel sometimes.
Yeah, no. It was nice though. I liked it.
Me too. Gotta bring that back. Gotta bring that back as adults.
I know, right? I'm pretty sure some people do it somewhere out there in the world.
Yeah. Speaking of vacation.
Yes.
I'm planning on going to Sequoia National Park, the first of my 3 national park ventures that I want to do this year.
Nice.
Going next month, so if you want to come before they get rid of the national parks or defund them even further and they can't stay open.
I know, it's so bad.
I know.
And hopefully they don't. Hopefully they come to their senses and you know what? We need
and
these
we
places. Yes. And yeah.
But yeah, I know. And we have so many here in California. It's a shame that I've never been to any of them, I feel, But I was never really a nature person. I don't even consider myself a nature person now. I'm just barely stepping into that world.
Let me do this before they're gone.
Yeah. There is a draw to me lately that I'm I want to be and see the beauty of nature at its, most untouched, I guess. So I will be visiting.
So you've never been camping?
I have been camping at Lake Elsinore.
Like Elsinore, but is it like camping? Like
Camping.
you took a
tent, and we stayed there the night, and it was like the worst night ever. I'm not gonna drop names, but I had a friend who at the time was toxic with her man, and she's the one that invited us. And the whole night she just got drunk, and they were fighting the whole night. So it's not even like it's not even like we did like swimming activities or hiking. No, it was like hearing them yell, and I'm just like,
oh my gosh, yeah, that's not a good time.
And I had to chase her.
No,
I was
chaser.
I was 21. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm not chasing nobody now.
All right. Well,
that was that, and then I went camping in the desert, which is a hell all on its own. I feel like camping in the wilderness would be different, and maybe I would like it with the exception of mosquitoes.
You know what? You just haven't gone with the right people.
Maybe.
I feel like I'm an over-preparer for those type of things,
Okay.
and I think you just need those type of people.
Okay, yeah, like an experience.
A little bit more comforting things that you need, so you're not like, ugh.
Somebody that knows how to camp.
We went camping. You know what? I've never really been camping, but we went once, and yeah, it was pretty hectic. Because, okay, we took the kids. It was called Lake Skimmer, I think, like towards like Marietta area. And yeah, but my husband, he was like, don't take in a little mattress, don't do this. So yeah, it was kind of, yeah. But he didn't have a good time. Nor did the kids always have a good time. But yeah, he
didn't because of like how much he had to prepare, or what?
Well, he wasn't preparing much. I was the one that wanted to do everything, and he was just like, "No, you don't need that. You don't need that." I'm like, "Yes, you do. You need all this." I'm like, you know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
Next time, I'm gonna do it my way. I take a lot of things
and like pillows and like 3 blankets, and it was like the worst night I've ever had in my life. It was the worst.
Yeah.
So, I always said I'm more of a glamper anyway.
Yes.
But I haven't even done that because of the mosquitoes.
Oh, man, yeah.
Mosquitoes love me. Like, I hate them.
Get away from me. Oh, my God. I just saw a mosquito the other day.
Oh, the first one of the season?
I don't know if it was the first one, but the first one I've seen, and it was, yeah.
Well, it was your birthday, and your birthday always lands on spring solstice, right? Mm. So it makes sense that we're starting to see the first bugs arise.
No.
And yeah, happy birthday to Marysol. Woo woo, 35 years young still. I hope you had an amazing time.
I did, thank you. It was such a blast. I had a good time hanging out with all the girls, and
we have a group of girls that we've known since high school. Shout out to the high school girls. And they're just like the funnest time. And I love how we're all just like a different mix of personalities. So it's always a good time. It's always like random what they're going to say. You can never like expect it. So
I feel like we just always like when we meet up, it's just like we've never like lost touch. Mm-hmm. It just catch up to wherever we're at right now.
I feel like that's a sign of a good friendship too.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that people should be overbearing on their friendships, and needy. Like there's a lot, we're adults, so there's a lot of things going on in our individual lives, and I don't think people should be upset that like we have to prioritize some things before having fun,
Yeah.
And I love our group of friends because that's exactly what they do. There's no hard feelings. We invite everybody. If you can make it, great, and if you can't, that's okay too.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you, girls.
Yeah.
I had such a good time.
And I made a new friend, one of our friends brought her cousin, and she's really fun time. Me and her got to talking, and I'm probably going to invite her to the podcast after we talk about it. And for one of our episodes, because she had a lot of great insight on certain topics that I really would like to get her on. So shout out to Sydney. And nice meeting you. Also, I just want to throw this out there because I know we kind of mentioned it on the last couple of weeks here and there, but I'm working with an organization. I'm volunteering actually for them. They are called Mental State Foundation, and they're doing great things for the mental state field, and they are currently working on getting funding for a place to have a community art supply closet that would be free to anybody that wants to use art as an outlet for their mental health. And they will be also receiving donations soon. I'm actually the coordinator for the donations, for the supply donations. So I'll be talking more about that as we move along in this process. But if you can, go check them out. They do have a website, mentalstatefoundation.org, where you can find links to donate to help find a location, as well as donate for supplies or any of the other resources they're currently calling for.
Oh, big things.
Big things this week. Yeah,
that's so important.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was kind of like a stale week, but now that I think about it, I'm like, no, we had birthdays.
It's been going, there's always something going on, I feel, but it's been going, and that's
true.
You know. Anywho, our topic for the day is auras.
No, not auras. Aura.
Yes, so auras. Tell me a little something that you've learned about auras.
Well, I didn't know anything about auras before we pulled this from our little jar last week. Okay. So I did have to do some research, and I found a website called auraexperts.com that gave us a little definition and a little insight to better understand what auras are. Okay. So I'm just going to read that to you guys. So according to auraexperts.com, that is a site dedicated to providing resources for aura readings and aura cleansings, as well as clairvoyant readings and spiritual resources. We as humans live in an ocean of energy. Okay. And so everything we do, all of our thoughts, decisions, all of our feelings affect the electromagnetic field that surrounds us and that we emanate as our current energy. And so this energy, this presence of this energy is called an aura or a vibration, or a vibe. Usually you are able to see the energy field that surrounds you in the form of a colored halo. And so depending on your cultural or spiritual beliefs, auras can represent many things. In some spiritual practices like Hinduism and Buddhism, auras are directly tied to the chakras within the body. They can be used to determine if one of your chakras are out of balance and can direct the person to how they can become more spiritually fulfilled by healing that out of balance chakra. So others believe that you can feel a person's chakra or vibe or aura by sensing it with something called clairsentient. The best way to think about this is to think about a time that you were in the presence of somebody that like you instantly hit it off with. And so it's believed that that somebody was radiating an aura that positively mixes with your aura. If you think also about a time that you've met somebody with like a bad vibe, right? You could say that that person was radiating at a low energy or at a different aura that did not mix well with your current state. And I don't want to say that it's like a negative aura, because we'll see that like there's only 3 things associated with a quote unquote negative aura, and that's a gray colored aura, a black colored aura, or a mucky aura. And we'll get into that later. So it's just, and so the colors are not ranked really. So if you're blue doesn't mean that you're at a higher energy level than red, for example. It's nothing like that. It's just radiating due to the current circumstances that you're living through, right? Or dealing with the life around you at that moment. However, if you're able to read your aura, then you have a better understanding and direction of how you can heal the energy around you to better radiate with the world around you and with other energies of people around you.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so where this idea of like reading auras really takes flight and it steps away from just being like a spiritual belief is by it becoming a method for spiritual healing within yourself, or even like emotional healing, you could even say, right? Because if it deals with your emotions and decisions, that's all kind of connected. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, actually, many years back, I took aura photography at the LA County Fair.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. Like my colors at the time, I think I'm black now. It was blue, like green. I was like a purple, a little bit of like yellow, but it was pretty cool. They explained some of it, but I was like, too drunk to even care. I'm like, let's take the picture.
You're at the fair. You can't explain this to me right now.
Yeah,
that's interesting because we should totally find somebody to take our picture now to see how we're radiating energies. But how? Just all black. Doesn't even come out.
Can't even see my face.
How scary! It's
just my eyes. Yes, I knew it.
No, but like how you said that you saw different colors around you, they say like you can emanate different kinds of colors.
It was different.
You know, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the chakras, but the human chakras, according to Hinduism and Buddhism, all are represented by a certain color. And so depending on where either you feel where you're unbalanced or where you are balanced, you can be radiating at a high energy, that color, or at a low energy if like it's affected, right? So for like the throat chakra, which is represented by blue, if you have like a low blue radiation, it could mean that you're having trouble expressing yourself or getting your point across, and you might want to look into methods to help yourself get better at that. Where if it's a high blue energy, that means that you do very well at expressing yourself,
right,
you know, and communicating. So if
I don't feel that way. I don't feel like I get my point across a lot of the time.
I think you talk in a very precise way where people know what you're talking about, though.
Oh,
I do believe that.
Well, thanks. Maybe I overthink things that I feel I don't get my point across.
Okay, that makes sense. And I think there is like a chakra here, and I don't remember if that's the white or the red, but
I don't remember either.
Was that in your photograph?
It was blue, green, purplish, and like almost like a light gold yellow.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like this, and then it was this, and then there was like something on top, like a golden thing on top.
Okay, but so you had a lot of purples.
I had more blue and green.
Was it a dark blue or that lighter blue?
It was lighter.
Okay, so yeah, your throat chakra, so everything to do with that, you probably do very well. It's very balanced. And the other colors that you're like missing are the ones that you should be working on, according to Hinduism and Buddhism, right? But people, it just depends on your beliefs when it comes to auras, because some people believe like if your aura is blue, for example, and you're not like into the chakra world, then it could mean like you're emanating like masculine energy, for example. We'll get into like the different colors later. I do have like a screenshot of them and their meanings. But it just depends on like how you're reading it, right?
Okay. All right. Yeah, we should definitely go back and do that.
I agree.
It's something that I'm kind of curious about where I'm at.
Me too. Honestly, me too. And so, and I'll tell you why. But first, let me tell you like the methods of reading auras, because we're going to try to do that today. After we go into the different kinds. But there's a few different ways to do this. So to determine the color of your aura, the first and probably the easiest way that experts say you could do this is the 2-finger method. And basically it's putting your fingers pretty close together to each other like this, but not touching, okay? And putting them up against a white wall or a white background is probably the best way. And staring at the space in between your fingers and letting your peripheral just kind of take over from there. This has a lot to do with periphery vision, by the way. So if you don't know how to unfocus your eyes, that's probably the first thing you want to work at before you try these methods. So once they're close and you let your periphery kind of take over, you'll start to see a halo surrounding your 2 fingers. And if you pull away, you'll start to see it even more. Like pull your fingers away from each other a little bit. Do you see it?
Not really. I just see white.
Yeah, okay, that's the halo. That's the halo. And the more you stare at it, the more you'll start to see subtle colors within that halo.
Okay. Maybe.
So yes, it could appear as just a plain white halo at first, But if just keep doing it, keep staring at it, and you'll see with the more your eyes unfocus, you'll start to see like tints of color here and there. Okay. So that's the first method, probably the easiest at home to do method. The second would be to put your hand up against a white background in the same way and focus in the middle of your hand, but also just let your periphery take over to try and see the outline of your hand, right? So you're not focusing on the outline of your hand, you're focusing on the middle, but you're letting your periphery vision start to see what's surrounding your hand. That's the second method. The third method is, like Marysol said, you can go to a aura photographer to take a picture of you and see what colors are radiating off of you. And then some people say you can also go visit a clairvoyant or clairsentient reader that can tell you what your aura is, that's able to see it or feel it. And the different aura colors have different meanings, as we've been discussing, but I think we should try to read our colors right now. So I see it a lot when I do the 2-finger method. And one crazy thing is, like, I never noticed, but I mean, I didn't know what this was, but I used to do this as a kid all the time, like just let my eyesight adjust to like the periphery and not focus in on things and zone out. So I feel like I can see it very easily, but the one thing that I do have trouble when I'm trying to read my own is the color. I either see a very pale yellow or it's white. Though I do see like a little hint of light blue too. For yours, let me see. Put your hand out like that. Maybe I could try to read it. You don't touch the wall though. I see like bright yellow on yours.
Interesting. I can't see shit.
It's hard because of the shadow, huh? I see a little mosca.
What does that mean? I kind of see orange.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see it like this? Maybe it's easier to read other people's. Because I have trouble reading my own, yeah. But with yours, I feel like I see it. So you see orange?
Like yellow, orangey.
Okay, put your hand back up. Let me see. Yeah, I see like yellow and green on yours.
Interesting. Whatever that means.
Well, we have the
What is
readings.
it? What does it mean, Grissel?
I'm going to let you read them. And so there's also this distinction when you're reading auras. You want to also notice if it's a pale color or a bright color, like we discussed, if it's mucky or very clear. And also if it's like a thicker halo or a thinner halo, because that means if it's thicker, you're radiating more of that color, right? Yeah. Like unfocusing your eyes is a huge part of aura reading. So, okay. This is from that same website. If you want to go ahead and read the different colors.
See. Aura color, let's see, they put orange. It has to do with sensuality, physical pleasure, emotional self-expression, creativity, lacking reason, lacking self-discipline, health, and vitality. Sorry.
Okay.
And yellow is mental alertness, analytical thought, happiness, optimism, childlike, ego-driven, thinking at expense of feeling. Green is healing, peace, nurturing, new growth, fear, need for security, jealousy, and envy. Balance. Okay. Blue is verbal communication, free thinking, related to structure and organization, emphasis on business, male energies, sadness, and possibilities. So it's just like a white.
It is, because remember, if it's like a low energy, it can mean the negative parts of that color. But if it's a high energy, it's probably the positive parts of that color.
Purple is wisdom, authoritative female energies, matriarchal, sense of superiority, controlling, imagination, and intuition. Brown is grounding, down to earth, practical, male energies, invalidating, emphasizing body and denying spirit, feeling worthless. Black is issues related to death, hatred, lack of forgiveness, unresolved karma, dark intentions, shadow games, needing compassion for self. Pink is self-love, tenderness, female energies, gay energies, emphasis on physical appearances, being nice at expense of being real. Aura white is cloudy, new age or religious energy, lacking consciousness or a cover-up denial, being good at expense of being whole.
Clear.
This is white clear light. It's very high spiritual vibration, godly, divine, inspiration, seeing spiritual big picture, compassionate. And then there's gold. It's high spiritual vibration, integrity, respect, freedom, clear seeing, integrating spirit and body, creating as spirit. Interesting.
So you saw how like in each color there's negative connotations and there's positive connotations. So if you're emanating this energy at a low frequency, it's very dim, very light, then it could be that you're experiencing a lot of the negative connotations associated with that color. Or if you're emanating like a brighter color for that, or a brighter halo for that energy, I should say, then you're experiencing probably a lot of the positive connotations of that.
Oh, okay.
You see?
I see.
So when you see my colors, you said orange and...
I saw orange and like a little bit like yellow.
Yellow? Did you see...
It was kind of a little bit on the brighter side, orange.
It was
the
on
yellow
brighter side.
maybe a little bit lighter.
a little lighter? Okay.
Around the orange.
So for mine, for example, you said brighter orange, so it's probably the more positive aspects for that one. So sensuality, physical pleasure, emotional self-expression, creativity, lacking reason, lacking self-discipline, health and vitality. I've been telling you guys I've been focusing on my health. I've been very obsessed with vitality lately. You know, I am trying to be a little bit more in the moment for myself and focus on myself healing, right? So that makes sense to me. And I have been trying to find different ways of expressing that through creative means. This podcast being one of them. We're working on a special project that you guys will hopefully see soon. So that's a second one. You know, there's been things, creative outlets here and there that I've been exploring with. So that makes sense to me. The yellow is one that I saw in myself. I didn't see the orange, but I did see the yellow, and I did see it, like you said, at a very low frequency. So maybe that one has more of the negative connotations. So things like thinking at the expense of feeling. I'm always, always putting my heart second and my reason first, always. Ego-driven, very much so. I'm probably too overconfident, and I should learn to be a little bit more humble. I've been trying to do that lately. Childlike. Okay, I'm immature sometimes, and I know it.
I think that's a good thing. I think you should never lose that childlike spark, like acting. I don't know. That's what brings out your creativity, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, most people do.
I have been trying, I mean, I've been noticing things that like habits that I've carried from childhood to adulthood that I've been trying to work on. And there are times where it becomes very hard for me to let go of my ego and put that aside and be like, no, you're trying to change this. This is something you don't like about yourself, so you're trying to change. So that makes sense to me as well.
Yeah.
For you, we said, I see yellow and I see green. I see more yellow with you, like a bright yellow. So for yours, it's probably the positive parts of that yellow, which is mental alertness, analytical thought, happiness, and optimism. Is probably something.
I feel like I can honestly say I consider myself a happy person.
Yeah.
I'm pretty optimistic most of the time too. A mental alertness. I don't know. Analytical. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm always like trying to think shit too much.
I think lately what you've been talking about, like you have been saying that you've been trying to get involved with the school and things like that. So I think you're thinking analytically of how to better support your community and your kids and like all of that.
I said it hasn't been happening, but it still works. It still works.
I mean, it's something that you're radiating.
Yeah.
Though. The energy is there to do it, you know? That's what
it's
it
in
is.
the works for sure.
Green, I do see green. I don't see it like super bright. It's just like a tint of it. So maybe it is, there's a little bit of fear.
Yeah, that for sure. I feel like I fear a lot of things now as a mom.
Mostly to do with like your
With
kids,
my
I'm sure.
kids. I'm like, yeah, anyways.
Maybe work, like this is where like you start to think like, well, okay, if I'm fearful of something, I need to work on that fear so that I don't feel
and I
this
have
way.
been. I've been working a lot with my kids. So I feel, to me, it's like more on how to prepare them for the future. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. I do feel like I'm optimistic, like they're going to be okay and all that, but I don't know.
You're just scared because of the unknown. Yeah.
Yes.
So fear, need for security, jealousy and envy, balance.
Jealousy, not really. I don't think I'm a jealous person. Envy, is this the same thing?
Yeah, this is maybe need for security. I don't know, something there, right?
Okay.
Like, and this is not the
Balance, yeah. I need to balance some stuff out. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Gotta balance a couple things.
So you're focusing on that, and that's the energies you're kind of radiating, you know? But all of these can change. I mean, they can change from one day to the next, even depending on how you feel, what's been going on, if you solved a problem, for example. Like for me, for example, you said that like I had a lower yellow. So
It's like around the orange, a little white.
Yeah. So then if I'm thinking at the expense of feeling, well, if today I decide to go with my gut and go with my feelings only, and everything works out and I see it as a positive thing, maybe that yellow would get a little brighter tomorrow,
Maybe.
It may change. So you're not stuck in these colors.
No.
These are not a long-term effect. They can very much change from one moment to the next even.
Okay.
Even in the presence of people, like we said,
Yeah, I agree.
So I know that I've met people and I'm like, ew, like I get a really bad vibe from these people, Some people call it intuition, but I mean, have you ever been around somebody where like you feel like this negative presence from them, but you try to give them the benefit of the doubt, right?
All the time.
And then later on, like you're proven right.
It's happened.
Right?
I've had that feeling with like spaces, like places and people. And crazy stuff has happened.
And like when you trust your gut, doesn't it usually like
it's true.
It's true.
It does. Usually back in the day, I felt like I always felt when something was gonna go wrong, and I'm like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's do something, and then it would happen. Something bad would happen.
Yep. Same. I remember when we were younger and you like would invite me out and stuff, and I would have those feelings, and I'd be like, no, like I have a really bad feeling, and then next thing I hear is this person got into an accident or this person did this, and I was like, I fucking knew it. I knew it.
What?
That's what I'm saying. Like I think I learned to trust my intuition as a child. I feel like I'm not doing that as much now as an adult, and maybe that's the childlike thing that I feel like maybe I need to work on a little bit.
Maybe.
I need to start trusting my gut a little bit more again, and not think so much, because sometimes it's as easy as if it doesn't mix well and easy, then let it go.
Yeah.
Let that energy go,
That's true.
So yeah, that's interesting. But I mean, yeah, once you know your colors, you can definitely start to work on yourself based on your reading, or work on those aspects of yourself.
I'm gonna work on my jealous self.
Now we talked about black and gray auras, right? But we didn't really go too much into it. But let's read a little bit about the only negative auras that there are. So black can symbolize protection, concealment of emotions, or negativity, depression, and anger. And when we say protection, we don't mean like to safeguard yourself. We mean protection, like blocking people off from you. Okay. Dark gray can indicate a lack of energy, stagnation, or even a connection to death or impending death. So it's really stagnant energy, which you never want to be. You never want to be just like floating through life, not craving for anything, not thirsting for anything. Like there has to be some sort of life force in you, And then the muddy or dull colors. So these can suggest a person is carrying unresolved issues, negativity, or is feeling unwell at the moment. So maybe like if we saw like a muddy yellow, it means at the moment maybe we're not feeling all of those positive things that we had been feeling.
Okay.
You know? And one thing that was crazy is I came across a TikTok video of some girl who reads auras, and during my research through all this, and she reads celebrity auras.
Ooh.
She talked about two people.
Most people, I feel like they have nasty auras.
Really?
Celebrities.
I feel like I can tell with celebrities very easily if they're like good or bad people.
Okay.
But the two people that she brought up, you're not going to be surprised about one of them. She said two people have the worst aura she has ever seen in her life, and they're celebrities. Can you guess one of them?
Beyonce.
No. Just kidding.
Just kidding, Beyonce. Don't tell me. You're beautiful. You're queen.
I get like a weird like okay, if we're talking about the colors that we just went through, I feel like Beyonce would have a muddy color, but it would still be a color, you know? Like I get like some sort of like repressed vocation from her. Like I feel like she probably has problems with her throat chakra. Despite her being a singer, I don't think she expresses herself. I think she expresses what people expect from her. Because I've seen blue around her.
Okay.
Yeah. But no. The two people that this person brought up with the worst auras that she has ever seen, the first one was Britney Spears.
Ooh.
She says her aura is gray. Completely gray, stagnant energy.
I can see that.
And she even mentioned, like, it's not her fault. Like, all the things that she's been through and having other people make her decisions for her has taken away that agency from her, where her energy to her at that moment, or in this moment, doesn't really matter. Even to herself, she doesn't feel that momentum because she doesn't know what to do with the life she has.
I don't think she's ever had that chance to kind of, like, really put herself first. Like, everyone has always made decisions for her.
Yep.
And
it's really sad, yeah. But now she has that option, that opportunity to take back her life. So let's see if that changes for her, hopefully. Oh. The second...
We believe in you, Brittany.
The second, you're not going to be surprised about this one at all. Because we have felt a bad aura from this girl. And we've talked about it. Yeah. Ariana Grande. She said Ariana Grande probably has the worst aura she has ever seen in her life, that she has ever read in her life. She has a black, gray, dark gray aura. And so what she says in this video, I won't even mention who she is, because just go look up aura on TikTok and you'll see Aura Reader and she'll come up. She's like super popular. But I won't mention it because I don't want no backlash for her either. She says that Ariana Grande is surrounded by protection. Something is protecting her, but it's not a good presence. And she says that herself, like she herself has probably partaked in rituals that have helped protect her and launch her forward in her career. But she's definitely paying for it with her spirituality and her spirit. And so that's why you don't get a color from her spirit anymore, is because it's almost all gone. She's given it to other forces. Yeah. And I feel so bad because I loved Ariana Grande. Like as a kid, I remember seeing her on like Victorious and things like that. And I, even from a young age, I was like, wow, she has an amazing voice. You know, she's gonna go far. And I was so happy when she got into like the music scene and started doing her thing, and like she like came up, you know. But there was a shift, and I don't know if like you've noticed it too, from like when she I'm gonna say it was around the time right before she got married. She was like vibrant. Yeah, she was married. She was married, and she got divorced because she cheated on her husband with this SpongeBob guy.
What?
You never heard that story?
No.
Okay, so she did a Broadway musical, and the guy that plays SpongeBob on Broadway she cheated on her husband with. That guy had a wife too who was pregnant at the time. And they still got together, and that's when she released that song Yes and, where she's like, yes and, like talking about like, yeah, she did that, so what?
Oh my gosh, what a little piece of poo-poo.
And it's crazy because like I saw her like before she got married, I saw her like radiating like positive energies and very bright, like and you could see it even in her face, like she was just like happy, you know, like full of energy. You could tell like she had upward momentum. But after that, like you see it in her face now too, like there's just no life almost like behind those eyes anymore. That's the way I feel about it. I see her interviews, especially now that she did the movie Wizard of Oz, and she's been doing a lot of interviews, and like all her interviews are very I don't feel like they're like genuine from the heart. I feel like she has a script.
She's just kind of lost.
She's saying what will get her through the interview almost, you know? It's not very interesting. It's kind of like, okay. Like, if I was sitting next to her, I'd feel awkward, like, listening to her talk about these things. It doesn't feel genuine from what I remember Ariana Grande being. But that's my opinion. Yeah.
Well, what else?
I mean,
so those two people, huh?
Those two people, according to this TikToker, probably have the worst auras she has ever come across. She also mentions all of the celebrities that she came across with really good auras as well. But if you want to look her up, go ahead and, like I said, just go on TikTok, type in aura readers. She'll come up. She'll be like one of the first ones. But yeah, so that's how you determine what your aura is and how you can use it to fix whatever inside spiritual self that you want to change. Yeah. And I'm interested. I want to actually go do that photo that you're talking about.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's find somewhere to do it.
You know what? The LA County Fair is coming up. Maybe they'll be there. Who knows?
Yeah, we should go and
check it out.
And then we'll give you guys an update on what our auras are at that moment.
Yeah.
So wish us luck.
I think I'm gonna be black. Like Ariana, whatever her name is.
Like Ariana.
Whatever.
I don't think you're gonna be black.
Black.
I feel like you have energy moving through you. Even now, I can kind of see like a green halo around you.
Gray.
That's a shadow. It's a ghost. But yeah, guys, we hope that you keep listening.
Creepy. Where's the jar of topics?
Oh, that's right. We have to draw. You're right. Hold on.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Okay, so I gotta work on my aura for next episode. And then we'll read each other again.
Yeah, we should. We should do like a weekly reading of auras. See where we're at with that.
Brown.
All right, cousin. Why don't you do the honors of next week's topic?
Did you put some new ones in here?
I don't remember. I think so. Maybe.
Mother's stories.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun.
This is where we invite our mothers to give their stories. Okay. That might need some convincing though, so let's pick another one just in case they can't do next week.
Who is responsible, parents or platforms? Who should set guidelines for internet, music, media? Okay.
Interesting. So it's either going to be our mother's stories that you'll get to hear, or we'll be talking about who is responsible for putting those guidelines on children, listening habits, and what they see and hear.
Ariana Grande.
Be careful. I heard she's got a black aura.
Crazy. All right.
So thank you guys for tuning in again to Mental
Margarita. Hey.
Your weekly happy hour. Cheers. And don't forget to
Bye. Bye. Bye.